So excited to be here.
Today, we're going to talk a little bit about how to manage your UGC business in 2025, because this is the year where we consider UGC a job and not just a side hustle. I'll get into who I am. I'm Itarbe and I'm part of Twirl. I'm Twirl's community manager and also content creator. I've been a UGC creator for nearly 2 years now, which is crazy. I have a lot of experience now with how to run this as my business, but also working in an agency, kind of like working with creators and with brands all the time. I know a lot more than some creators. At Twirl, we have a force that comes in between creators and brands. We have so many cool brands that we work with, and they're on our platform offering jobs to creators every single day. I think last month we closed over 300 projects. So we are like moving a big volume of jobs. So that means there's work for everyone. We're always looking for the best creators, and we're always looking to educate our creators as well. This is why we hold webinars like this one.
Hey everyone, I'm Jess. So I'm owner of Candy Creators Club, which is one of the first memberships in the UK for UGC creators. How I kind of got into this is I was a social media manager and kind of went into the social media space. I always loved content creation. I've done a few pieces of content for our clients for content days. So I've been able to meet up with a lot of UGC creators in the UK. We have like content days, which have been really, really fun. So I've kind of been the middleman in between like brands and creators. So I've learned a lot from both sides. So I thought it was the perfect opportunity to start a membership to help other creators kind of get into paid collaborations. And as you all know, it's growing every single year. It's becoming huge now. And yeah, I've made so many friends. The community is so supportive and I'm really excited to be here.
So now let's get on to it. Why should you shift your mindset from just being UGC being your side hustle to making it an actual business? First of all, you need to see the value in the work that you do. I think it's so important for creators to actually think of what they do as a job, because if you don't think of that, then no one else will. You cannot go to a brand and tell them this is my job if you don't even believe it yourself. So start shifting that mindset. And through this presentation, hopefully for those that don't have that mindset yet, we will help you get there. But you have to start thinking of videos as if it's a product. You're selling something that's very valuable for brands or for agencies. So see it as such. Your videos, your photos, they take time to make. They have like you use your iPhone, that's very expensive. You use your laptop and use your time, which is the thing that's more monetizable in this economy is time. So see it as that. And that means that in order to make it run efficiently, you have to think of it as a business. And for that, you need to think of UGC as workflows that you need to make sure that they're in place so you can save energy, save time, and therefore scale your business. Hopefully in this presentation, we will guide you through how we think you can manage this more efficiently so you can streamline your time, streamline your tasks, and make sure that you don't just get stuck in repetitive tasks and you can focus on what you actually enjoy, which is hopefully creating very cool content, filming, editing, etc. For this, you also have to see it as a business with departments. You won't enjoy all of them. You might enjoy creating, you might not enjoy accounting, but as a business owner that you are, you have to take care of all of them so none of them stay behind. And for that, you need to set goals. You need to know what exactly do you want to accomplish with this. That doesn't mean that you need to make it like $1 million business. That just means that you need to be smart about how you work it. Whether your goal is to collab with 3 brands a month or 25, you need to see it as the same. And hopefully we'll also give you tips on how to do this a bit better.
First things that's kind of really important is defining your brand and again, business goals that we just kind of mentioned. So a lot of people ask me kind of how they can define their personal branding. So I know, as we just said, being a UGC creator kind of encapsulates a lot of things, and kind of branding is one of those things. Not just having a logo, anything like that. It's kind of how you create yourself, how you have a niche, and how you want to stand out in the industry. You know, there's so many creators, people are joining all the time. It's becoming bigger and bigger, as I mentioned earlier. So you really want to establish yourself, who you are and why brands should come to you rather than other people, and kind of your own niche. So as part of that, personal branding is a big part. So as I said, establish a clear niche and consistent style. So across your content, you want to kind of establish an aesthetic that you aspire and that you create on your page. You want your page to look really professional. When brands come onto your page, they want to be wow. They want to be like, this is amazing. They don't want it to be really super messy. You want to kind of establish, you know, templates, color palette, everything like that, just to make it all cohesive. And this isn't to say that when you first start out, you have to choose a color palette and stick to it forever. Of course not. You can adapt, you can grow, and you can change. But it's really key to kind of have those first things nailed down when you kind of first get into it. And with that, creating things like an email signature, having a logo across your portfolio, having your portfolio and all your branding kind of being really cohesive, again, just looks professional. And some tips for your goals as well that you also want to establish when you first start out, as well as your branding. As we said, set specific goals. It helps you achieve them easier if you get really specific. Write them down as well is also a really good tip, just so it's there visually that you can look back on. You can set yourself an income target when you first start out. Be realistic as well. You don't want to aim super high. It is good to aim high, but also you don't want to set a goal that you don't hit, and then it really makes you less inspired and less unmotivated. And set a number of client collaborations you're aiming for, and also have plans for how you're going to achieve those goals. So within each goal that you set, have actionable tips for how you're going to achieve those goals. I'm going to go more into nailing your personal branding, as I mentioned. So with personal branding, you kind of want to establish a color palette. As I said, it can adapt, it can change, you have to set with it forever. A good tip that I like to have when creating color palette is Canva actually has a built-in color palette generator. So if you're really unsure what kind of color palettes you want to go with, it can be quite a big thing to kind of think about. You can actually input some of your own images into Canva, and it will create a color palette for you, which is just such a genius, amazing tool. So you can go back through your UGC photos or any photos you have and input a few photos, and it will generate some colors that you can then work with and play with. That's a really nice tool you can use when first starting out. And then fonts you want to also think about as well. So on your Instagram, on your, on your feed, on your portfolio, on your email signature, again, you want it all to be cohesive. Have fonts that you can represent across all of your branding documents. So you can think about kind of font combinations that work well. I wouldn't say go really funky with your fonts. I'd keep it fairly professional. You can experiment with fonts, but I would always make sure your fonts are easy to read. Is a really key thing. And Font Pair is another great kind of website you can use that can suggest some really good font pairing. So you can look on there, have a play with some fonts you like, and it will suggest other fonts that kind of pair well with it. And then icons as well, another key part of branding. Your templates, you can get really fun with icons. If you follow Candy Creators Club, you'll know I love my icons. So we have loads of icons across our branding. They're really fun just having your Instagram templates, story templates, portfolio. You can have fun with these. If you don't want to create your own and you're not really, experienced in graphic design, you can use a website like the Noun Project. This has a whole library of icons that you can search through, and it will suggest loads of different ones for you. And you can type in their search box and it will come up with loads of different icons. And then lastly, templates. So once you've obviously come up with a color palette, you've got some fonts you like, and you've got some icons you like, you can then create some templates. You can do this on Canva or another website that I found, which is really good, because I know a lot of people know about Canva at this point, and a lot of people are kind of using similar Canva templates. So if you want to stand out and kind of go different to what everyone else is doing, there's a good app called Easel, which is similar to Canva in terms of it already has pre-made templates, but it has an entire library of them, and they're really good as well. You can either customize them as your own, so you can pick a template you like the layout of and customize, or you can find templates that already kind of match your vibe that you've already come up with in your color palette.
Okay, so after all the creative stuff, we go on to the more boring things, which is organizing your workflow. It can be really chaotic when you're dealing with hundreds of assets, which you will get to that point. And you want to save yourself as much pain as possible early on. I've had situations where I've wanted to find something and it just wasn't on my phone, it wasn't on my CapCut, and it was just lost forever. And then the brand comes back and requests things, and it's just very messy. So what I always suggest is that I put Google Drive because that's the one I use, but I know there's others like Dropbox, or I don't know, there's different clouds that you can use. But for me, Google Drive works. And I always, since the beginning, organized everything very, very well. And that means not only your creative assets, but also your serious stuff, as I like to call it. Make a folder for your invoices, make a folder for your contracts, make a folder for any document that you ever generate, whether even like taxes. All of it needs to be on one platform that you use, that you can never lose. That's why I like the cloud as well, because hard drive can sometimes be lost, and that's very, very even more painful. And what I always suggest as well is that you create like a kind of a master folder that you always replicate when you start a new project. So inside a master folder, you can include things like a folder for raw footage, a folder for initial edits, and then a folder for final edits, a folder for the briefs, a folder for the contract, a folder for the invoice. And this will be like the master folder that you will replicate every single time. What this means is that you will never lose anything, and you will never skip any steps either. Sometimes when you're doing a lot of collaborations, you might lose, like you might skip the contract, you might skip, I don't know, like the brief of the brand, you like kind of lose it in your email and then like never find it again. This way you can keep everything organized and you know exactly where to refer it. And then I also recommend that you name the files always the same, because how many people here have had edit final number 3? So this means chaos, because if the brand ever wants the final one, you're never gonna know if the final 3 is the same as the final 3. So always make sure you have a cohesive name, that you name your final actual edits, and then this way you will save yourself honestly so much pain.
Talking about organization, I love Notion. If anyone's not used Notion yet, I highly recommend it. It is amazing. Not only is it really, really customizable, you can do so much on there. You can, as I said, you can move your branding onto there if you want, create a really nice hub, and it's just great for everything in one place. Outside of Google Drive, where you can have your files, with Notion, you can just track everything. So you can track your income, your collaborations, your deals, literally everything on there you can track, and you can make it really organized. As I said, super customizable. It can be a little bit tricky to get used to when you first start out. I've created a Notion masterclass if anyone is interested in Slide Candy Creators Club, which is kind of the basics for getting used to it and using Notion, because as I said, it can be a little bit tricky, but once you get the hang of it, it's amazing. So with Notion, some things you can track as a UGC creator, as I said, track brand collabs and deadlines. Deadlines is one of those key things that can, like, in the back of your mind, and then you can forget it, and then you're like, oh no, and you have 2 days left. So definitely track deadlines. On Notion, there's actually tools where you can add in calendar dates, reminders. It's great for that. So definitely you want to keep track of your deadlines as a creator, especially when you first got started and you might have a million things on in your head. You can plan your week ahead. Maybe you have a certain day for admin, a certain day for filming. You can plan all of that. Manage your income, manage your expenses. Every month you can just have, 2 columns, for example, with your income and your expenses, so you can see exactly how much money you're making when you first start out, which can be great to seeing, when you feel like you're ready to go full time, because you actually know visually how much you're making and it's written down. Strongly recommend trying it. We do have a Notion hub created for you. So if you scan that QR code after this, you'll be able to go into that, just click the duplicate button at the top, and then you can set it up yourself, customize yourself with your own pictures, fonts, however you want to customize it, and it's just a great place to keep everything.
Yeah, we love Notion. It took me a while to get used to it. I also really recommend using it to track. I have like a very well set out table where I track like the products that I have that I'm waiting for, the ones that I've received, the ones that I'm editing, scripting, and then this way, honestly, it saves so much brain power that I don't really have. It just has all the fun things. I have all the boring stuff, but finances. This is so important. I feel like us creative people sometimes leave in the back end all the serious things like finances. But when you are your own boss, it's so important to stay on track, especially if you're making enough money to have to pay taxes. You will always have to declare it to the government how much you're making. So very important to have a very good spreadsheet with all the information of how much money is coming into your account, how much money is leaving your account. Again, Google comes very close to this. Also set up a folder with expenses. Make sure you keep those receipts and put them all in there. Or you can even keep a spreadsheet as well, where you can make note of all of your subscriptions, CapCut subscriptions, if you buy a new phone, if you buy a new tripod. As much detail as you can keep, the better. We also have 2 templates here. One is Candy Clubs. I also added one that I have. And this one is great for just keeping all the invoice numbered. Then you can keep track of who's paid and who hasn't as well, because obviously when you have loads of payments on the way or some take like a month to come in, you might want to keep track of who has paid and who hasn't, so that you don't miss out on anyone. And as well as like how much every month you want to make, because it can just get a bit all over the place, especially if you're working with different platforms and different sources of income. If you especially have like other services like social media management, marketing, or management or strategy, can get very messy. So I really, really, truly recommend keeping very close eye on this. Allocate maybe 1 hour a week to just updating everything and making sure that everything is on there. On the UGC diaries, we have an accountant came in to write a blog for us. So you can also probably find it in all of the UGC diaries. But I think it's great. It just kind of sets you up a bit on the business side of things, whether you want to set up as a sole trader or you want to make an LTD, all of that, it's great to keep in mind. And now we're talking about efficiency. We already have everything set out. You have your branding, you have your finances. How can you make this the most efficient possible? I am a big fan of automation. I know it can be a bit complicated because sometimes you have to pay for softwares. I know Zapier is really good, and this can be a bit more complicated. So I just suggest that you do look into it if you can, if you really need to save and cut up on your time. But if you don't want to go as far as that, I still recommend you automate things like pitches or even like responses to emails. I call them canned responses. And I have in my Notion sheet so many different email responses that I have just ready to go that I might just need to modify a little bit, whether it's a negotiation email or saying no to a gifted collab. All of those emails I already have pre-written and I have them organized so I can just go straight to my Notion, copy, maybe paste it onto ChatGPT, modify it, and straight to the brand. You can also, if you want to take it a step further, you can even make like onboarding guides for your clients. You can also make PDF downloadables that you can send to your clients with tips on how to even brief a creator or whatever you think would add value to you as a creator. It's beautiful and it will make you feel more professional. And again, I think Jess mentioned it before, batch content days. So if you have a million videos going on, to make sure that you don't miss deadlines, allocate the specific filming day to 1 day of the week so you can get all of the videos filmed so you don't miss any deadlines. I know on 12 we're always nudging creators, where's the video, like you're late. So this way you can just allocate the 1 day of the week, and because of the 5-day delivery time that we have on 12, it should be perfect for rotation. So this will also save you time because you don't want to start creating, like setting up the tripod every single day of the week, getting ready every single day of the week. All of those things are very time consuming. So if you can make them more efficient, that's perfect. Then you can also set shortcuts on Google. I love having so many different ones on my like search bar. I have ChatGPT, I have my Notion board, I have Twirl, I have Creator Candy Club. All of the things that I go every day to, I just have pinned so I don't have to waste any time.
Building long-term client relationships is one of those things that's really key because as a UGC creator, we all know income can sometimes be up and sometimes down. So you want to kind of build up long-term client relationships. So you have retainer clients as well, so you kind of rely on them every month, and it helps you feel more secure and comfortable. Being a creator is something that will take time to kind of build, especially with experience as well. The better you get as a UGC creator, the higher your content is, the more likely you're going to have clients coming back. So don't expect it necessarily when you first get started, but as you start to grow, it's definitely something to consider and kind of get information on so you can create long-term client relationships. So some of our tips and things that you will need is, as I said, creating consistent high quality content. So when a client receives your content, they want to be, wowed by it. You want it to be really high quality, which again comes with experience, comes with equipment, lighting, having everything in place. You want the brand to just always think of that piece of content you created for them, so they're more likely to come back to you again to work with you. Communicate regularly, check in during your projects and share updates on your progress. The brand will value it so much if they hear from you regularly. Even just a quick email, it take you 5 minutes, just check in. If you, for example, have the video coming by the end of the week, just let the brand know. They will really be appreciative of it. It comes across as more professional rather than just being quiet until delivering the content. You could have a even tracker in Notion with your client projects, and then maybe like you have 2 days later you check in, another few days, or before you're handing it in, just check in again. As I said, just looks professional and clients will be really appreciative of it. And then focus on exceeding expectations. So you could also suggest, if you want to build up these long-term client relationships, you could suggest additional ideas. Upselling is a great way to get more work on. So for example, when you're filming a video and for example, you have a certain hook you're creating, maybe you have 2 more ideas for the hook, you could record all 3 ideas if you had time for the hook and be like, hey, I also recorded these 2 hook ideas, what do you think? And you could earn more money on top of that because the brand really likes the hook and maybe they want to run a few ads with the content and you're giving them extra hooks It also looks good on you, and you may earn more money from your collaboration. So really good. Look into upselling, and you could also offer to create bonus content for loyal clients. So for example, if you worked with a client for 3 months, you really enjoy your relationship, you love the brand, you love the products, you could even create, an extra video for them just to show your gratitude, your appreciation. It will look really good on you, and you never know, the brand could even refer you to other friends they have in the industry and other brands, and you could take on more work through that. So if you have time, you could always create extra content for long-term client relationships. And some tips we have, as I said, track your client projects, make sure you always deliver on time. That is really key. If there's anything happening where you can't deliver on time, like an emergency or something's come up, make sure you let the client know as soon as you can, so it just looks better on you and you can let them know to expect that. Also track your clients as well. It's another great way. So you could track every single collaboration you've had, and then you can reach back out to those brands. So for example, an upcoming campaign like Mother's Day is coming up, which is one of the next events we have coming up. You could reach out to the brand and be like, hey, Mother's Day is coming up, I have these ideas, XX next. Send them an email, and they might be really interested and want to work with you again. And we actually have a calendar for this inside Candy Creators Club. It's like a seasonal content calendar, and I put together a ton of dates for this year for different things that are coming up, which could be great to create content around. Like, for example, National Best Friend Day, you could pitch an idea to a brand with you and your best friend. So that's another really good tool you can use, and just keep regularly updated with dates throughout the year, national days that you can then pitch to some of your past clients ideas to. It's a great way to earn some extra money and get those long-term client relationships.
Now that you've scaled and you're efficient, it's time to grow. It might not be everyone's goal, but I mean, it's always nice, especially if it's your full-time job. As Jess said, you can always offer bonus ideas and upselling. That always works really well. On Twirl, because you will not have contact directly with the brand, if you do have a client that keeps coming back to you, which will happen, you can always come to the Twirl team and tell us if you have a great idea for a brand, because we will relay it onto them, and a lot of the times they will be happy for you to do it. So just keep offering. It's never really bad to be creative and keep the contact or keep being inspired by different things and tell the brand about this. And then another thing that you could also think about, if you're really getting busy and you cannot even handle your own work anymore, it's outsourcing. This might be a bit further for some people, but this could be as simple as hiring a video editor. If you're not meeting deadlines anymore, this might be a sign that you don't have the time to manage your own content anymore. So hiring external support, online assistant, everything like that is always an option, because you are a little business, and if you need support, it's always good to hire. And the more time you have on your hands, the more work you'll be able to do. So it's always great to consider those options if you are at that point. And again, keep setting goals, increase those goals monthly or every 3 months. Go back, look at your numbers, make sure that you're consistently growing. If you're not, consider why. Have a brainstorm, think, is my work good enough? Is the quality of my videos consistent? Are clients coming back? Is that a sign that I'm doing a great job? Maybe I need to work on my hooks. Just keep always thinking about the quality of your content, because there's always room for improvement. And this, obviously, quality at the end of the game is the most important thing as a UGC creator. So these are the main tips that we have to share with you if you want to scale your business as a UGC creator. Now we have a little bit of time for some questions. I see there's quite a lot on the chat. What are icons?
Icons are like little images, I guess you could say. So for example, in this slide here, you see that little laptop. That is an icon that we've had as part of Candy Creators Club. You can either get them professionally designed by a graphic designer, or you can find them online. It's just little emojis, I guess you could think of. You can use emojis in your graphics, but if you want custom ones to your brand, as part of your brand identity, then these are kind of icons you can find.
They're good for your portfolio and stuff like that. If I can go over the master folder categories, I will send this recording so I don't have to give you the list and you don't have to remember it. But in case it wasn't clear, it's just a big folder with mini folders inside that you will replicate every time you get a new client. But yeah, Faith, you will get the recording so you can take a screenshot and you can just go through it on your own time. And if you have any questions, you can send us an email at creators@usetwirl.com. Can we keep e-receipts for tax returns? Honestly, ask your accountant. I don't know, Jess, do you know? I think you can. but it depends on the type of receipt that it is.
Yes, it depends. It depends. Yeah.
What do you mean by automate tasks? Automation can go really, really far. But what I meant is things like sending auto replies to emails, or if you really want to go to the point of really automating everything, you could even have different spreadsheets that when you put the number of the invoice, then it'll automatically update other systems that you have. So really don't dive too deep in this if you are still at capacity. This is really taking it a step further, but it can be simple automations such as sending automated emails. Maybe like after 3 days, you can set an automated reminder to this client, things like that. Very new to this, and we need some help to start up. How can I get that?
Well, we've created a membership actually for exactly that. So Can Do Creators Club is open to any UGC creators, whether you're new or experienced. We have loads of templates in there. We have guides, masterclasses, podcasts, even a group chat, which is great to kind of chat with other creators. And we're also partnering with Twirl to bring obviously work opportunities inside the club as part of Twirl's platform, where you can get a fast track code onto their platform as well to accept different collaborations that you can apply to. So yeah, I definitely recommend signing up, and also just communicate with other creators. The community is so lovely, so just chatting with other people can really help you as well. It was, what platform do you use to create your invoices for brands?
Okay.
I'll suggest the one I use. So I use Stripe. It's really great because actually you can send reminders. So once you create the invoice, it will go directly to the brand's email, and then it can update them and remind them if they haven't paid, which is great to use. But you can also use Canva, a template on there as well, which you obviously have to send manually. I don't know if you have any other suggestions.
I use Canva, which I track manually, but I think probably Stripe is good. I don't know if it takes a percentage.
Yeah, it's like a small percentage. So yeah, keep that in mind.
How to create an amazing pitch. We have actually a webinar on this, on how to get more jobs at Twirl. But at the end of the day, I do touch on many things, such as creating a good pitch so brands actually notice you. You can find that on YouTube. You just search like Twirl webinars, and it's for free. It's more catered to Twirl, but honestly, there's great tips that can be applied anywhere.
Yeah, you can find TikTok is a great place to look at. A lot of people put tips on there. Instagram, so you can look at what other people's are pitched. I would definitely customize it. One thing I would say, definitely add your own personality into it. But yeah, just practicing with it and seeing what sponsors you get as well, and tracking those, and then you can customize another pitch and seeing how that performs. So yeah, just trial and error, I think, with that.
But how do I get started? Not sure the content quality. How would I promote myself to get some UGC work? And how much are the memberships?
Membership is £20 a month to get access into the club with content. So when you first start out, you might want to take on some gifted collaborations and then just practice with content. You want to make sure the lighting is good. I know it's winter, so it can be a little bit tricky at the moment. I'd probably try and film in the morning if you can, near a window. Try and get your natural lighting in. Lighting is one of the main things that really can affect the quality. So try and nail that first. Maybe get a ring light. Try and see how that can work. And just practice makes perfect. Just keep practicing. Practice with products around your house. You know, maybe you have a product you like that you have like some skincare. Practice with that. Watch other examples online from other creators, and just practice makes perfect.
And I'd say like patience is key, and just perfecting your quality. At the end of the day, there's a lot of creators and some are very, very good. So just make sure you keep pushing so you reach that level. And yeah, you can promote yourself by being on TikTok. You can also join platforms like Twirl, and then you can access a lot of brand deals that you can pitch to as well. So I think that's it for today. Thank you everyone for attending.
If anyone has any more questions, feel free to DM me, Can Do Creators Club on Instagram. I'm more than happy to help anyone out. But yeah, thank you so much everyone joining. It was so lovely to be on here. And thank you to Twirl as well for having me.